Hey everyone, I'm Juanica, also known as Miss Astrology, and today I want to bring a video to discuss rituals and ritual work. I chose this question or this subject because I get this question often from my clients. What should I do when I'm doing a ritual? How do you do a ritual? What is it even about? And so I just figured I'd make a quick video to discuss and talk about some of the things that I do during my rituals, how rituals have affected my life, and so on and so forth. Because I'm a Sag with a Gemini rising, of course, I got to start off with like some real definitions, like a real lesson here, right? So, according to Google, a ritual is a religious or solemn ceremony consisting of a series of actions performed according to a prescriber's order. That is the noun of ritual. In an adjective format, it's relating to or done as a ritual or a solemn rite. The word solemn simply means formal, and so it's just like a formal ceremony, consisting of actions according to what the prescriber, self, you, choose to do and choose to incorporate. I personally think that rituals have two key components: intention and mindfulness. These are the main two things that you must consider before you perform any ritual. One, what is the intention? What is the purpose of you even doing this ritual? What are you trying to bring into your life or get rid of your life, out of your life? You have to be really clear about that because that is really what you want to stay mindful of while you're performing your ritual. So, to get really clear about your intention, oftentimes you just want to ask yourself why multiple times in a row. So, for instance, with myself, one of my most memorable rituals was at a Scorpio new moon. And I have some decent Scorpio. Well, I have Venus in Scorpio, but my Sag, Sun, and Moon are so close, 2 and 7 degrees, that by the time that new moon activated on my moon and my sun, it was beautiful. So, during this ritual, what has really, for me, with the intention setting, was I really want to develop my intuition. And so you say, okay, why do you want to develop your intuition? So I can, be more in touch with spirit, more in touch with myself, more aware. Why do you want to be more aware? So I can have more knowledge, so that I can have more insight, so that I can have better guidance. Why do you want to have better guidance? So I can help more people and help my clients and, give other people guidance. I can be aware. Why? I mean, you keep going. And then I can say, well, ultimately, because that's what I was here to put here on this earth. And that's my soul contract to do, to be a teacher. I have heavy Sagittarius energy. So I give you that example to tell you how to get really focused on your intention with the ritual, because this is what this is all about. Now, for myself, a lot of mine is behavioral. However, some people are, Taurus, Libra, Leo energy. You need money. You're trying to manifest a new car, or, maybe you are into or trying to manifest a relationship. You know what I'm saying? There's water signs, a better relationship. It's up to you, whatever your intention is. I personally do not do multiple intentions with my rituals. Excuse me. And I think that might just be because I'm a Sag and I don't want to be all over the place. I have Saturn in Virgo, so I need to like keep these things focused and disciplined and all this information. And so I do one intention at a time. And it's whatever intention that I feel led to based on the moon. I want to incorporate the moon. I want to see where that moon is going to make aspects in my own birth chart, cross some of my planets. So like, again, that Scorpio moon, it actually happened conjunct my Venus. And then by the time the moon was activated, because new moons don't actually get activated until they're a little further away from the sun, as far as I'm concerned as an astrologer, by the time the moon had activated, it was on my sun and my moon. It had hit my moon at 2 degrees and now my sun at 7 degrees. So I was, really affected by this moon. And excuse me, I was really affected by this moon. This energy was really intense. And so I was really being very mindful, I incorporated intuition, transformation, rebirth. These are all Scorpio energies. And so you're being very intentional and you're being very mindful of what you're working with in your own birth chart, what you're working with in the universe, and you want your intentions to line up with the planets, with the universe. This is us flowing with the planets. We can get in line with them. They're not going to necessarily do exactly what it is that we want. They'll give us the opportunity to manifest those things, but right now the universe is telling us to work on something specific. So always know where the moon is, know how it aspects you, be very intentional with that. Whatever intention, whatever you're trying to manifest with this ritual, specifically if you're using the moon, is in alignment with where the moon is, if that makes sense. So if it's an Aries moon, maybe you're really trying to incorporate some courage and some passion in your life, and you're really trying to find this area of excitement, right? Maybe it's a Taurus moon and you really are trying to secure some finances, and maybe you want a home or something like that. If it's a Gemini moon, maybe you're trying to open up more communication, get clearer information, could even be working on something with a sibling. Maybe if it's a Cancer moon, this is about children or your mother or mothering or something like that. If you're working with the Leo moon, this is your inner child, this is your creative self-expression. For me, oftentimes Leo does represent fatherly energy as well, but that's kind of depending on some other placements and the astrologer that you ask. So if it's a Virgo moon, maybe you're really trying to work out the details of something and get organized in some kind of place, really get a little more analytical or something like that, depending on if it's a full moon or if it's a new moon, because full moons are ending, new moons are beginnings. Maybe it's a Libra moon and you're really trying to balance what you're giving in relationships and what you have for yourself. Maybe if it's a Scorpio moon, this is a time for you to really get intense and really get in touch with that trauma or release that trauma or release that pain, or even tap into your intuition, tap into that deeper side of you. Scorpio also represents joint finances, so maybe it's something like that. Or if it's a Sag moon, you're trying to find more freedom, you're trying to express yourself and explore more. Maybe you want to learn something, you're thinking about going back to school, and so that's what this intention and this ritual is about for you. If it's a Capricorn moon, you're trying to build, you're trying to progress your image, your reputation, and get higher. These are the areas that you want to focus on in your life, because we have all of these signs in our chart. Everyone has all 12 signs, and so that's why it's important for you to work with the cycles of the moon and the sun and what's going on there and manifest that part of your chart in your life. Maybe it's an Aquarius moon and you're really trying to incorporate friendships and more that you can do in the community, and more of your more independence even, or some revolution. You're trying to support something like that. Or if it's a Pisces moon, this is going to be about your beliefs and about your subconscious thinking, your hopes even. Pisces being the sign of I believe. So depending on the moon, you really want to be intentional, right? You want to be mindful of the universe and how you can use this energy in your own life. And so I do think that the two key components of a ritual are the intention and the mindfulness on the intention throughout the entire ritual. So I also wanted to talk about some of the things that I do in my rituals, and maybe this will give you guys some ideas on what you can work on or incorporate in your own ritual. Remembering that you're really just being mindful, you're really trying to manifest a certain thing, and this is you having a orderly ceremony consisting of some things that you will do to get in line with the universe, to get in flow with the universe in a certain area of your life. We want to flow with the universe, right? Okay, so some of the things, where did my part go in my book? I'm acting like I'm live and I'm not. Okay. So one thing I do always before I start a ritual is I make sure my space is clear and my space is clean. So because I'm a full-time astrologer, a professional astrologer, I already have a certain vibe in a certain area where I do my readings. I actually wake up every morning and pull tarot cards and different things like that, oracle cards. And so I have this area in my room that's already set off. And so this is where I'm going to do my rituals at as well. So I always make sure my room is really clean. And I like to start by spraying Florida water or maybe lighting an incense. Actually, I always use Florida water as long as I have it, and I usually do. It just refreshes the air, right? You can use sage, you can Palo Santo. You just want to prepare the space ahead of time. Now, depending, you may want to go take a bath or bathe. I do not always do this, but I have to be honest, I have very little water in my chart. And so it would make sense that I don't always feel like I need to go take a bath. Now, the Scorpio new moon that I continue to reference in this video, I did start with the bath in this one, but it felt right. And it was a water moon and it was very intense. And this was probably one of the longest, most in detailed rituals I would have for myself have done. And so it makes sense that this one was different. But, then later came, the Sagittarius new moon, and that was way different, and the Gemini full moon, and that was way different. So it just really depends. And it's how you feel led. These are your intentions. This is your mindfulness. This is your ritual and your ceremony. You don't have to tell anybody. This is you getting in alignment with the universe, you doing your part. So it's whatever you feel led to do. And so, but I do always start with a clean space in the area, and I do have this small little area rug, and that's where I set up everything. Maybe you only have a small table or something like that, some kind of smaller space. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. So if you're gonna take your bath, remember when you start that process, for me, once I start spraying the room, the ritual has begun. And so whether I'm going to go take a bath or not, I'm now very mindful of my intention for the next, 30 minutes, an hour, however long your ritual lasts. It's entirely up to you. But I'm mindful now. I'm in this orderly ceremony, right? Even if this ceremony even my kids kind of know if I'm about to do a ritual. But there's not a lot of bother in this house anyways, in my home. So because my children are older, but if you have to tell someone, can you keep the family down or can you take care of this? Just give me an hour to have some mindfulness, some intention setting for my ritual. I do think that's very important, just to not be distracted and to really be focused. So, okay, for this one, I went and took a bath. In there, I had candles. I had roses, rose petals. I prefer rose petals. Sometimes I do add other herbs to my bath. It's entirely up to you. You can add oils to your bath. I did on this one. I like rose petals because they float and they're easy to get out of the tub. Most of the stuff does anyways, but sometimes the little bitty stuff is harder to get afterwards. And so I don't want the ritual to be something that I dread having to clean up afterwards, if you will. I want it to feel good. And so I use the things that are the easiest for me. I will put maybe 2 candles. I just don't want to make it a lot. I like to just really work with 1 candle during my ritual for the intention, because I generally only set 1 intention with my ritual. I don't like to incorporate a lot of things. That's just me though. You may be more experienced or feel led to add more candles and do more, or be more blanketed. I tend to be really specific, but just on one thing. That part are entirely up to you, as long as you're focused on that during this entirety of your ritual. So I do also like to start by shifting the energy, of course, with the Florida water. I have a bell that I'll ring. I do like to also play some binaural beats. This is the best kind of music for me to listen to. There's a couple on YouTube that I'll just put on. I put it on my little portable speaker. I take the speaker with me to the bathroom, and I just kind of start there, being mindful. If this is a release ceremony, you're releasing with the water. If this is a new moon ceremony, you're inviting in, you're, connecting with the energy, connecting with the emotions, allowing yourself to be nurtured in this newness that this ceremony and this ritual represents. Then, go in my room or whatever. Now, let's pause right there and talk about what should be represented and what you could use to represent the elements in your ritual. So I definitely like to represent all 4 elements along with spirit, which I feel like I represent spirit. However, I also represent fire, earth, air, and water, right? So this is me wholly, but I do want my individual. So of course my candle is my fire. I do have candles that will just be in the background, like this candle. I buy tea candles by the 100 from Walmart. They're like $4. So I will have candles that are like in the background. However, for me, I like to have a candle that is kind of the center of the ritual, if you will, and connect with the flame and let this candle burn in representation of my intentions and my ritual and that kind of thing. Now, I will say this. If you are lighting or using a candle, I am fortunate enough to be in the position where I work from home. I'm here. I can keep my candles safe. So I personally do not blow them out. I let them go the entire way themselves. However, every book that I've read and every, professional tells you to put the candle out if you're away or if you're sleeping. Now, if I'm away, that's different, but my candle's so safe that I can't even say that I always put it out then. However, if you do have to put your candle out, do not blow it out. Just put a lid on it or, snuff it out. But that is if you even use a candle in your ritual. You don't have to. I do. I have all my personal planets, well, besides Venus and Jupiter and a fire sign, so I need fire in all of my rituals. So I always have a candle that's kind of the center of the ritual. I also have candles that are around, just like in support of the ritual and of the main candle, if you will. And so that will represent the element of fire in my ritual. And fire is passion. So you want that passion. You need that passion to be ignited in order to get in alignment with the universe to either bring forth or release whatever it is that you're doing with this moon ritual. So you can burn sage, Palo Santo. That also, in preparing the room, you're already bringing in the element of fire along with the element of air, along with, if you use Florida water, there also is the element of water. And so you can burn something. If you decide to do a ritual outside or in the sunlight, again, that'll represent the element of fire in your ritual. Also, to represent the element of air, you can use an incense, will represent air. A lot of them, the elements will overlap, and depending on what you're using. So if you want to use, the element of air, you can also get that with the incense. So you use the flame to ignite passion, right? This incense, which will burn smoke. This is represented by air, or this represents air. I even put a feather down to represent air. I think in an essence, a feather can represent, of course, air, because it's wings, it's flight. It represents air, but at the same time, it would represent, earth. It could, right? Because it's a feather. This is something practical. Air represents information, intellect, exchange, communication. And so whatever information that you need to bring an ending to or to invite in an opportunity with this intention, this is why you want to bring in the element of air. Also, in your own self, air can be represented by writing. And then if you're writing on paper, paper represents earth. So it's all connected, right? And so you can write. I always write in my rituals, but I'm a Gemini rising. So I have always collected journals, journaled, had a diary, used cards, shuffling. I'm a Gemini rising, so it makes sense that I would do that. And I have Jupiter in the 3rd house, so that makes sense too. So that can represent the element of air. I also put binaural beats representing the element of air, or a singing bowl. Again, this being like an overlapping concept. I do think binaural beats also represent emotions, because this is music. And so that's the element of water as well. Just because it kind of, makes those movements through your body, which to me, I see the ocean waves. It's like water. So binaural beats can do that as well, but it's also, depending on what you're using, if it's a crystal bowl, a singing bowl, then you could be, that can represent earth. And then with you hearing it also, that represents air. To me, in a sense, like these can all be one of the other. The most important thing is going back to the two key components of rituals, is that you've set this as an intention. So you can say this bell, this singing bowl, this feather, this diffuser, this incense represents the element of air and represents the information that I need to make the right choices to bring an ending to or a beginning to. So you want to represent the element of air, and you want to say why, and you want to identify that this keeps you mindful. Because remember, intention and mindfulness are the most important elements of the ritual. Okay, the element of water, this can already start with the bath, right? The Florida water represents water. I have used a glass of water. And when I say glass, I mean like a literal glass. Like I can see the water. It's in a small glass. All I drink out of honestly are glasses or some kind of like, but it's a glass. It's set there, and I've identified it as representing the element of water and representing the element of, or the part of me, the emotional part of me that needs to be connected to this intention, that needs to release the emotions that need to release if it's a full moon, or the emotions that I invite in and reconnect with if it's a new moon. And so it depends if you want to use a water. I also, one of my favorite things that I got for my birthday was, or is, this super cute moon globe, and it's a nightlight. And so I will bring that moon and put it in my area and say this represents the emotions that are in this. And sometimes I turn it on and this is a big bright moon. Oftentimes I leave that light on just because it's amazing and it lasts like 2 days. So, and this will represent the emotions, and this will represent the moon that I am connecting with, that I can't actually see right now, but that I do acknowledge and that I am working with, and whose energy I am harnessing during. So this is like paying homage to the moon. And you can use other planets, but those planets don't move as much as the moon does. And so the moon actually gives you more opportunity to perform rituals. And so because she's transiting and giving you a full moon and a new moon every single month. So this is at least twice a month that you're able to do some kind of ritual. I did also a ritual at the Great Conjunction in December, but that was just because that's, every 20 years, like, and then it being at 0 degrees of Aquarius is just tremendous for me. So I did one then, but typically it's just with the moon. So, okay. So that actually, I'm going to pause this video and get this and show you. Okay. So this is my little moon globe that I'm so proud of. One of my favorite birthday presents. And it glows. You can dim it. It's super cute. I took professional photos with it. I love it. It was a birthday present. And it has this little stand. So often what I will do is allow this to come into my ritual and be the representation of the moon. It's all about the intention and the mindfulness. And this is actually for me a lot about gratitude and me giving honor to the moon and just really giving honor to the universe and the energies that I'm able to tap into and flow with. And so just whatever that you have that represents the moon, maybe it's a picture, a sigil, a glass of water, and it's just about the intention and the mindfulness. But I do think whatever element that it is that is representing the moon as you're working with the moon, I think this is the element that you should show gratitude to, because we want to give gratitude to the moon for allowing us this time to release or this time to bring in something new. We just want to always stay thankful to the universe and to God and to the energy that we're able to flow with. And so when we're working with the moon, I think it's important to be thankful to the moon. And so if that is represented with a glass of water, you thank it for nurturing your body. And the other thing I do when I incorporate a glass of water is I do drink the water at the end just to connect. Specifically, if it's a water moon. So for instance, with that new moon in Scorpio ritual that I did, which I feel has been one of my most powerful rituals, then that I did definitely set the intention with the water. As a matter of fact, I didn't have my moon globe then because I got this for my birthday in November, but that ritual was, it was November, but it was earlier in November. So I did, and I drank that water afterwards. I thanked that water. I set the intentions that it was the emotions that I needed to connect with, the intention, the intuition, which I was seeking. And I drank that water. And I'm telling you guys, I feel very much intuitively transformed. My readings have been way more accurate. They were accurate before, but I get more downloads, intuitive messages in my readings that don't necessarily show up on the chart, specifically for first-time clients. For repeat clients, I pretty much get like a way more downloads in their readings because I know them, I've connected with them better. But now that I've connected with my intuition better, even my first-time clients are getting way more intuitive downloads that support the astrology, as well as tarot cards and oracle cards. And my tarot readings have been great, which leads me to the next part. Now, okay, let me also say this. For the water element to show up, Um, another other examples of water, they could represent the moon. Oils, you can add oils. You can put oils on your body. You can put oils on your crystals. There's the earth element. You can put oil in your candle, like dress your candle with oil as you're blessing it, as you're setting the intentions. So for instance, with that Scorpio moon, I also drank the water. I'm putting oil or anything like that in the water. If you have certain essential oils, you could add those to your water if you want to drink them. The good ones are safe. Just add a couple drops. That's a great idea. I tend to put mine in a diffuser. The essential oils, not because I couldn't drink them, but I just put them in a diffuser. Yes, and so that music can also, to me, represent water, along with chanting, prayer, singing. So, yeah, these are other things that I will have represented: the water, the diffuser, the oils. I always have oils as well, but I use oils primarily for my body and to dress my candles. I always dress my candles, but I'm completely open about this. Candles are my favorite rituals. They are the ones I use the most. However, I am heavy fire energy, and this makes sense for me. If you are heavy water, then it may make more sense for you to use more oils, use more diffuser, use more ritual baths, whatever works for you. So also prayer, chanting, that kind of thing. And then last but not least, and then I'll finish my ritual, because remember, I just got out of the bath, and then I took a break to tell you what is represented by examples of what could be represented. Last but not least is earth. And you can, and this is because earth brings practicality. Earth brings steadiness. Earth brings work. We're going to do the work to release, or we're going to do the work to bring in the new. And so with earth, you want to set the intentions with your crystals, your plants. For myself, I have a beautiful plant that stays in my room often. So the ritual is done with the plant right there in mind. I always have crystals. So you can also incorporate your crystals. Any herbs. So I have lots of herbs. Again, I use the herbs. I tend to use the herbs to dress my candles. And I do use the herbs in a bath. Some of them, I tend to prefer rosebuds and rose leaves. But that's because they float to the top and they're easier to get out. But the roses also represent earth, right? You can put your feet in the dirt as a representation of work, of the earth energy. Also paper, so writing, petitioning is really good. That will bring in air and earth, because those go together. Or also for me, my tarot cards, my oracle cards, mine are all really good quality, really good stock paper. Paper represents the element of earth, and so I always incorporate my tarot cards as well. For me, tarot also is speaking. So this speaks again to my Aquarius midheaven, my Gemini rising. And so this for me is also air and earth, because I could definitely use the element of earth in my chart. So that's one thing I'm working on, my Saturn placement. So another thing that I do think is important to incorporate with your rituals would be color. And this is new for me and something that I just started doing, but I do think that it's important to wear a color and light a color candle. Now, I can't say the color candles are new, because I always am very intentional on my candle colors and herbs and oils and all that kind of stuff. I love me some candle magic, but my clothes have been newer for me. And so I think it's important that with the colors that you wear, that maybe you so for instance, actually that Scorpio ritual, since I'm being 100% honest, I didn't have any clothes on, and this just felt right to me because it was a Scorpio. I have Venus in Scorpio. I honestly did that entire ritual in the nude, but this was a very intense and very much deeper ritual for me. And I'll finish telling you that story in just a second. But I do think that, you find the color that represents the intention and keeps you mindful of what your intentions are with this ceremony. So for instance, my last ritual, which was the Capricorn new moon, I wore green. And the reason that I wore green is because I'm really in the position now where I want to manifest more money. And I want to use my intuition and my skills as an astrologer and a cosmic healer, an intuitive astrologer and cosmic healer, to make more money and to build a business. And then I also have some sons with some pretty strong Capricorn placements. And so I was incorporating some other things that I want to do with them in this ritual. So I wore green for abundance, for prosperity, for money, and to represent that steady, practical work element. And so I do think it's important to incorporate color in your candles. For that ritual, I did not have a green candle, but I had an orange candle. And I know orange represents business success. And if you don't have the right color candle, you can always use a white candle. Just so you know. So white candles, even silver candles, will kind of go either way. But if you don't know what color and you're not sure and you're not feeling another color, you can always use a white candle. But I would try to incorporate the color that kind of feels like it goes with the tone for you. So color with the candles and the clothes is really good. Okay. I think that is what you need to know about how to incorporate, again, the paper. So writing on paper, I said that. Oh, okay. Let me finish my story of my ritual, and then I will be done with this video. And I hope it's been as helpful as I feel like it has been. So now this was a Scorpio moon, a Scorpio new moon. So this was in Scorpio season. So the sun and the moon were in Scorpio. And if you know your astrology, and this is why it's important to know your astrology, so that you can know the elements and know about that sign that the sun and the moon are meeting in, or the sun and the moon are opposing in. You may need to know those two signs. And so with the sun and the moon both being in the sign of Scorpio, as well as me knowing that this new moon was going to be later in the sign of Scorpio, so that it was going to aspect my Venus, and then by the time it activated my sun and my moon, I was fully aware. And this is what this is about: being intentional, being mindful of what you're doing, right? So it was a water moon. Of course, that means I did this ritual at night because it felt right. It felt dark. It felt Scorpio, water, very dark in the bathroom. I felt very quiet. I felt very internal and intense, and I was very much focused, which is very Scorpio energy. Remember, it's about the energy of that planet. So then, the entire time and a lot of times what you have to do to get yourself ready is, speak to yourself. Remind yourself what you're doing. I'm just so thankful I'm releasing. For me, this was a new moon. So this was about, I invite in new intuitions, new inner knowings, new psychic abilities, authentic psychic abilities, an authentic connection to source, to spirit, to God, an authentic connection to my intuition. So this is what I'm chanting and inviting in and meditating on during the entire ritual. Well, at this point, I'm in the bath. But yes, at the entire ritual, this is kind of, where this goes. And this is me reminding myself, so why do I want to do this, so that I can be a better service to God's people, and I can better be an example of what God can do and what the Spirit will lead you in. And so this is, me have already dug down to my why I want this. Sometimes that's how you start off the ritual, by asking yourself multiple times why you want this, and you just really focusing on that. Okay, I got it. I'm focused. So I'm really focusing on being the best astrologer possible, giving the most healing, the most guidance, transforming the most lives, giving people their power back, their spiritual powers back. While I'm bathing and inviting this in, the music is playing, the rose petals are encouraging it, the crystal is supporting it, the flame of the candle is helping to ignite it. Like, this is the whole thing, right? This is what I'm feeling and what I'm staying focused and intent on. So then I come in my room, and by this time, yes, I'm going, but I want to kind of really go a little bit deeper. So I put my headphones in and I started to meditate. It was a really quick meditation, maybe 5 minutes. But like a meditation, not affirmations, but like the meditation music where I have to focus my mind, calm it, settle it down, set the vibe. And then from there, now this is another thing that I do. If I'm going to have a playlist and have music playing, I have to set the playlist ahead of time and put my phone on do not disturb. So of course, this is what I did, because I was super intentional with this ritual, like super. So of course I have my playlist set up ahead of time, listen to my meditation. Then I was able to put my speaker back on and have my binaural beats music kind of playing. I got my singing bowl and set the vibe. I got my little bell, and first I got the bell, then I got the singing bowl. And it's like it's supposed to be in an exact order, but I don't think it has to be in an exact order. But this is going to be up to you. I do not have much fixed energy, so I do not need exact orders. I just need certain things to get done during this time frame, and I don't care what order they get done. I need the bells to ring. I need the meditation to happen. I need to get a message from the tarot cards. I need to light a candle. I need to write in my journal and petition something. The order of it for me does not matter. Now, that's different for everybody. Some people have a lot of fixed energy and they need it to go in a certain order. Whatever works for you, just stay intentional, stay mindful. So I started the singing bell. I then began to kind of chant in mantra, like repeat some mantras, just really getting into a spiritual essence, into a spiritual self. And then from there, I wrote in my journal, petitioned some things that I wanted to see happen and that I wanted to invite in. I folded that up. I put it underneath my candle. I have a little table that I put my candle on that was actually brought with my section right here. And I don't light my candle yet. I light my candle last. But then from there, and it's up to you, but I light my candle last, which makes sense for all my fire energy. I'm like, but wait, last but not least, fire. So, then I pull my tarot cards, and while I have the petition sitting there, tarot cards there, I'm not as well versed in tarot as I am astrology, so I oftentimes have to get my book out and read a little bit. I have a really good book that I reference for my tarot cards. And so sometimes I have to do that. I also incorporate oracle cards. And I will maybe need to look in the book for that. Another thing I do, I have a separate, like I have a daily journal, and then I have a journal that's just for rituals. And so I will write down what cards I pulled during that ritual in my ritual journal. My ritual binder is actually what it's called. And so I do tend to keep track of, what I was trying to manifest, what color candle I use, those kind of things. I'll write them down as I'm sitting here kind of meditating and, reminding myself that this is amazing. During this ritual, during this time, I'm manifesting more intuition, more inner knowing, more ability to connect with spirit, directly with spirit, to speak true healing from an intuitive position as an astrologer and as a healer. And so this is all that I'm thinking about when I'm writing and I'm getting my message from spirit, and I go over my cards. And I do tend to leave my stuff there overnight. But after I get everything written down in my journal, I really study the cards. I really receive the message. I summarize in my journal what the message was to me. I really get focused. I really get thankful. I dress my candle with oils and herbs. I've already, done my singing bowls. Then at this point, I will drink, in this ceremony, I actually drank the water then and just kind of accepted all this. And then last but not least, I lit my candle. And the reason that I light my candle last is this is, that spark, that fire that is getting it all going for me. And maybe you want to do it first. Maybe you feel like, oh, well, fire is the first element. It's the first sign, and you want to do it first. It's up to you. I light my candles last. But maybe this is because I always have other little candles around. And so I feel like I have the candles there in support, but I also feel like my center attraction of the candles, like the final show, and it's like the final thing. And then from there, we're kind of wrapping it up. So, then last but not least, I light my candle. I do spend time connecting with the flame of my candle. And this is with every candle ritual that I do. And what I mean by spending time connecting with the flame, I light it in thankfulness and gratitude, as the passion that ignites my inner knowing, my inner intuition, my ability to work with others, make money from transforming people's lives. This is what this flame represents. I receive this with my whole passionate soul. My body receives it, my spirit receives it, and I connect with the flame fully. And what I do from here on out, every morning when I wake up, I reconnect with the flame of my candle. This is just, a reignitement. I feel like as individuals, this we need to restore ourselves daily, and this flame is something that does it. We gotta bathe daily and eat, often. So why not, reignite our own passion? And to me, this is what the flame will represent. And I reconnect with it every morning until I feel like the candle goes out when the full connection has been made. Some of my candles last longer than others. As a matter of fact, I want to say that Scorpio moon candle lasted like 5 or 6 days. It was a really long candle, and I connected with it every single day. Some of my candles only last 3 days, so they're not around as long. It's really going to depend how often you put it out, how many times you relight it. What I do suggest though is every time you relight it, you reconnect with the flame, and then when you put the flame out, that you're doing it by snuffing it. You're not blowing it out. So yeah. I do want to add one last piece. This might be a little taboo, but whatever. I'm a grown woman with Venus in Scorpio. So during this new moon ceremony, I did light my candle. I leave my tarot cards and everything out for the night. That's just the best way for me to kind of finish. I do finish my ceremonies with it is so, thank you, Spirit, and I end this ceremony with a connection, and thank you, God, it is so. So an ending, like you want a for sure ending. Now, I am a practicer and a believer of sex magic. And if you do not have a partner who is open to this, then I suggest that you practice sex magic alone, not, trying to do it in your head while they don't know. I'm fortunate enough to have a partner that's all in. But for this ritual, this was alone. And it's still the same thing. The reason that I do believe in practice and subscribe to sex magic is I do subscribe to the belief that sex is an orgasm, not just sex, but orgasms are the highest vibration. I mean, you can actually produce life, right? And it's just a feeling that you just can't get anywhere else. And so why not use this energy with intention? We're too busy screaming, yes, yes, yes. At least in your mind, know that the yes is inviting in, the newness, the inner intuition, the inner knowing. And so get comfortable with your sexuality. Scorpio is in the chart for a reason. If you got Scorpio placements, you absolutely should practice sex magic. If you have 8th house or 12th house placements even, depending on, where Pluto is, where Mars is in your chart, any other aspects it makes, you should not be afraid of sex magic. If you're feeling connected to this part of the message for some reason, this is for you. The only thing that is different is that your mind is focused on your intention. So and you can't be shy, and you can't be, shy with yourself. You got to really be all in. You got to be mindful. You got to be very present of your body, how you're feeling, what you're manifesting, what intentions you are setting. So this was something, again, that happened for this Scorpio new moon, but that's because for this Scorpio moon, it felt very appropriate for me. It was Venus in Scorpio. I have Venus in Scorpio. So, it was a new moon that was conjunct Venus, conjunct my Venus, my natal Venus, and then it conjunct my natal Venus, and then it aspected my moon and my sun. So this was perfect. So you have to be led. That's part of the intention. You have to be intentional, and you have to be mindful. I think those are the two key components for a ritual. And I hope that this video actually encourages you to practice ritual work and to incorporate, even if you don't do all of those steps and all of those things, and you don't have all of that represented, even if you just do something really quick, a 15-minute ritual in the morning, and you deep inhale to represent the air and the breath, and you could be the fire. I mean, I would light a tea candle. These little bitty things that goes out in like an hour or so. Like, light a tea candle to go with it. You get the 100-pack at Walmart for $4. I'm sure it's cheaper on Amazon. So, light a little candle like that. Take some deep breaths. Set the diffuser. Grab your crystal. Get you some intention water, or allow yourself, while you're bathing, use rituals. Use rituals. They are sacred. They make things happen. It's your way of acknowledging the universe, flowing and getting in line with the powers of the universe and making it happen. I think the universe has our back. It's like, yeah, you jump on my flow, you follow what I am guiding us through, and everything will work out. There's a time to end, there's a time to begin, there's a time to rest, a review. All of that is in the chart. All we got to do is follow along, you guys. So I hope this video helped. Leave a comment. This is my longest YouTube video thus far, and it's not even just astrology. So this is me really opening up. Right before the Leo full moon, I have Jupiter in Leo. So this is going to make a beautiful aspect to my Jupiter and get me all worked up and feeling good. And it makes the aspect in my third house of communication. So I'll probably have several more videos coming. But I hope this really helped. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Until next time, peace. Namaste.